Good afternoon, lovelies. This is Black and Indigenous American. I hope all is well with you guys on this beautiful Sunday, early afternoon. Once again, I'm here live. This is like what? Almost 3 days straight in 1 week, right? So I'm back. Okay, so this live video is going to talk a little bit more about the R word, controversy, mascots, and things of that nature. But first, probably noticed I'm wearing this cool hat. I got this hat when I was down in New Orleans, baby. New Orleans. My second home. Anyway, it's Calvin Klein, if you care to want this straw hat. And I will put the link in the description box later. If you choose to purchase it on Amazon, or you can go directly to their website. It's Calvin Klein, and this is a straw hat, and I thought it was cool. So anyway, I thought about extending a video on the topic of the R word and mascots and things of that nature, and part of it is because there was a couple of comments from one individual who supports the R word. And I guess because Indigenous American communities that are sovereign, federally recognized by the federal government, they can do what the hell they want to do. And apparently there are schools on reservations that have Indigenous American mascots and utilize the R word quite a bit, and it's not a big deal, right? Apparently, if they remove the R word from the franchise and they rebrand it as far as Washington, D.C.'s football team, then that is almost like erasing, once again, Indigenous American imprint. You know what I'm saying? That is the other side of the spectrum, coming from Indigenous American people that support the R word, that support these Native mascots, these Indigenous American mascots. That's the flip side. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm learning. I think the YouTuber who commented on my last video about his perspective and how the Blackfeet people coined the R word for Washington, D.C.'s football team. In my opinion, in my perspective, it's still not good enough. It's just not. It's still a word that's rooted in racism. And just because people who are Indigenous American, they communicate and they interact with, let's say, each other, calling each other the R word. To me personally, it is not appropriate for outsiders to say the R word. When you think of, let's say, Black American people, African American people, many of them use the N word. The N word was and still is derogatory if it's spoken to a person of color, for instance, Black Americans, okay? And they're not Black. And if they're not part of the Black community, culturally, not race, culturally, if they were brought up and or they respect the culture and it slips out because everybody else says the N word because they have their Black card to say that. Sometimes you have people outside of that community that are actually adopted culturally in a community, and they'll say the word and it's okay. But if those people don't know you and you think you cool and you think you're gonna sing along to a song or whatever and it has the N word in it, you're gonna get beat down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's just the way it is. However, what's troubling that some Indigenous people apparently are not offended or do not see anything wrong with outsiders using the R word. That's not honoring Indigenous American people. That's not showing respect. It's not. Not at all. I'm just going to read a little bit for those who maybe don't know the history and the reason why many people are offended. The term dates back to the institutionalized genocide of Native Americans, most notably when the Massachusetts colonial government placed a bounty on their heads. The grisly particulars of that genocide are listed in a 1755 document called the Phipps Proclamation. That's PHIPS, which zeroed in on the Penobscot Indians, a tribe today based in Maine. Spencer Phipps, a British politician and then lieutenant governor of the Massachusetts Bay Province, issued the call ordering on behalf of British King George II for, quote, His Majesty's subjects to embrace all opportunities of pursuing, captivating, killing, and destroying all and every of the aforementioned or aforesaid Indians, end quote. They paid well, £50 for adult male scalps, $25 for adult female scalps, and $20 for scalps of boys and girls under age 12. These bloody scalps were known as the R word. Come on. Come on. Are you serious? And you have no bones about this word. And you are Indigenous American. Come on. Wake up. Wake up. Scalps of little boys and girls under age 12. That was ordered. And you think it's honoring your people on your reservation? It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Again, somebody is getting paid. And everybody else apparently is following along with all of this craziness. Wrong is wrong. I don't care how you flip it. And as far as the N-word, you have people today within the Black community, Black American community, even globally, they refer to each other as the N-word with the A at the end of the N-word. They wanted to take something negative and flip it. But let somebody outside of the Black community say that about them or to them to their face and see what goes down. That's inherited disrespect. Now, I don't say the N-word. It's disgusting. I understand history, and I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not. Wake up, people. You need to wake up. If you say it amongst yourselves, okay, That's your business. That's your business. But if you allow outsiders to define you in such a nasty way, and you find pride in that, that is sad. There's nothing prideful of an outsider using a derogatory term in a name of entertainment. There's nothing respectful and honorable about that. Not only do I have the blood of Africans who have been oppressed generation after generation after generation, and then I have another set of ancestry that also have and still are dealing with the residual racism of the same oppressors. That's in me. It matters to me. Now, am I going to play the victim card all the time? No. No, I'm not. But when something is blatant like this, and you give outsiders a pass to use that filthy name, shame on you. Shame on you. Now, yes, there are bigger fish to fry. You have the environment. You have murdered and missing women. You have land grabs. You have drug and suicide issues. And the list goes on. So the last thing on the list is the R word. There's bigger issues. I understand that. But at the end of the day, you got to draw the line. You have to draw the line. And like I said in my last video, if there were teams and mascots that were derogatory in nature, and they have imagery of people in a derogatory way as their mascot, in 2019, not 1919, not 1819, we talking about 2019. Oh, no. No. Nope. Not happening. Not happening. But when it comes to my Indigenous American sisters and brothers who are for the R word, something is wrong. And you're wearing the apparel with pride, something is wrong. A few years back, I attended a powwow in Virginia, near the mountains. Okay, Virginia has so many different regions and so many different people and political ideologies. But okay, the mountain folks are Trumpsters, just so you know. And many of them are racist, just so you know. Closer to West Virginia, just so you know. So I went to a powwow out there, and when I first got to this powwow, there were Confederate flags everywhere, flapping in the wind. And apparently, I guess there were members of this community that fought for the Confederacy back in the day. That's their history, and they're proud of it, and they're Trumpsters. Well, I'm sure they're Trumpsters now because I've heard through the grapevine a few people I know that's part of that community that have awakened and have been awakened the entire time. They get on their tribal members about their their mindset. But anyway, enough of that. Prior to Trump, I'm sure those same people are Trumpsters. And back to the R word. Back to the R word. I go to a vendor because I drove 3 hours, 3.5 hours exact, to come to go to that powwow. So I was going to stay at least an hour and then leave because I wasn't going to stay there the entire time. I just wasn't. And there was this Indigenous American guy who looked the part. If you look at him without regalia or whatever, you would just assume he was a Native American man, and he was, right? He was wearing Washington football's team R word all over. Apparently, he's a huge fan of the team. And he had a funky attitude. I was like, what the hell is this? Did I drive all the way down here for this? So again, not all Indigenous American people vote like the majority of their community. Not all Indigenous American people find certain things offensive like the majority of their community. You have those who think and act like the colonizers. And I don't know if it's a survival mechanism. Be on the winning team. Side note, until Washington football team rebrand, they will continue to be a sorry team. I don't care who you recruit to be on that team. You're going to continue to fail. You're going to continue to fail. You do right by Indigenous American people, see what happens. But until then, you're a sorry team. When the last time you won a Super Bowl? When the last time you won a Super Bowl? I need to know that. And don't win games because the Cowboys are playing against you. And all of a sudden you wake up and you don't care if you win the Super Bowl, but you got to win against the Cowboys because that's a rival team. Cowboys, Native Americans, get it. But when it comes to the Super Bowl, you can't quite win that game. I wonder why. Rebrand and see what happens. But until then, you're going to remain a sorry team. That's all I got to say about that. Now, I remember a situation that went down in the DC area. And this was, let me see. This situation went down back in 2015, I believe. It was, I want to either say it was in September or October. And there was this powwow, family-friendly event on a Friday. I believe it was at, I know it happened at the National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. I think it was at the Gaylord Hotel. I think. And thanks for watching for those who have chimed in or at least watching. I have one person that's watching, so I appreciate your time, whoever you are. Don't be shy. If you have something to say either for or against what I'm saying, you're more than welcome to share your perspective. I may or may not agree, but that's okay. I would much rather interact with people who express their perspective so I can at least kind of understand where you're coming from. Now, I may not necessarily agree with it 100%, but dialogue is important too, okay? Respectful, obviously, dialogue. Now, Yeah, it was the Gaylord Hotel, the National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Again, this incident went down, I believe, in 2015. You can Google it, look it up, or whatever like that. But apparently, at this particular powwow, I was not there because it was a Friday night evening, and then plus I was going to go to a gathering in Virginia. And some of the same people, by the way, were drumming at that powwow at the National Harbor. And they also were drumming that weekend at the gathering I was at. And I didn't hear a word. So something went down. I didn't hear a word the entire weekend until I saw something streaming in the news and also, social media. Then that's when I realized what actually happened. But no one said a word. No one said a word. So apparently, there was a government employee, a federal government employee, who I've met, by the way, had a conversation with a college student wearing the R word jersey at an educational powwow at a Washington area hotel. Pretty much they're being kind of like vague with this article. And again, this article is back in 2016. But this all went down at the Gaylord Hotel at the National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland, by the way. The talk quickly escalated into a violent brawl that left both men with injuries and now threatens the federal official reputation. Although Prince George's County, Maryland police wrote a report, no charges were filed. The student, 28, who is also Native American, subsequently dropped out of school in Durango, Colorado, and says he has $50,000 in medical bills stemming from the incident. He couldn't immediately provide these medical records to Politico. Politico is a news outlet. He did share records showing his diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism. The police report describes both men as having minor injuries and says both were treated with ice and declined to be taken to the hospital. The report also states that there were no witnesses. Quote, who could advise who started the altercation, end quote. Now, the student says he was, quote, begging to go to a hospital, end quote, but police refused to take him. So, in a nutshell, that's what went down. Apparently he was, and I feel like I've seen this guy before, by the way, the student. I think I've seen him before. Showing up at powwows with all of this offensive gear on. And most of the people that I've been associated with that I see at these powwows are against the R word and the apparel that goes along with supporting that team. And here this guy, he had on a hat, he had on a jersey, he had on a coat. I mean, he was just decked out in this R word apparel at a freaking powwow of all places. Why are you going to show up at a powwow with all of that on? I call it attention. You want attention. And I don't know, maybe, just maybe he wanted to drum with this group. This group in the DC metropolitan area is a popular group. It's intertribal. And they have people from Washington State, New Mexico, Florida, New York, Delaware, Virginia, Maryland, Oklahoma. You have so many different representatives that sit at this drum. And again, they're a very popular drum group. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, maybe, just maybe he wanted attention. You know how some people want to stir up the pot, right? They want to stir up the pot. And when they do so, they want a reaction. They want attention. Now, again, this guy had some form of autism. I've been around people with autism, and if you approach them with an attitude, they for whatever reason, it's difficult for them to stand down. So I don't know if this federal government employee or official approached him with an attitude, and this student got aggressive, and it created this friction. Again, apparently there were no eyewitnesses. Maybe there were, maybe there weren't. But on record, apparently nobody was around. Now, this federal worker, like I said, I've met him before. I've met his family before. I actually met him at one of the rallies and protests at FedEx Field. And I don't know if he is just as aggressive as a student, if he provoked the student because the student, you know, whatever. I personally think that this federal employee approached this guy and asked him, why are you wearing so much offensive attire? In so many words, like, why are you supporting a team that used this vulgar, derogatory term in the mascot, and you're Native American? Why? Why are you doing this? I don't understand. And I don't know if this student automatically got offended and that autism kicked in, and the rest is history. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I know is everybody that was at this particular powwow at this hotel were at the same powwow I was at the day after. Same drum group. And no one said a word. Just saying. So I'm thinking about people at these rallies that support Trump, and how you have that token in the background behind him when he's speaking. Makes you wonder. Some people just want, there's an illusion that that's the winning team, right? It's an illusion. And some people, they want to be a part of the winning team. And for me, you're on the wrong side of history, buddy. You're on the wrong side of history. Wrong. So I was thinking about one of my associates. I wouldn't necessarily call him a friend, but he and I were part of the Native American Student Association at a university in Northern Virginia. And he's an artist, and he has moved on, and he now lives in Colorado. And he too is an activist. He too is against the R word. He's done several plays and different types of artwork to show his opposition to that, as well as during Halloween, you have people dressing up in not a respectful way, using wearing headdresses and things of that nature. And so he and many people that I know and I associate with are against that type of behavior. So he created these stickers. And what I'll do is I will put a link in the description box to show you what these stickers look like. And I remember at one get together, one rally, he handed out a stack of these stickers, and he was like, just post them all over, post them on the metro, post them on signs, you know, or whatever like that, like public areas, obviously, you know, post these stickers everywhere so people get it. And so the first word on his sticker was the N word, and it was crossed out. The G word crossed out. The K word crossed out. The S word crossed out. The C word crossed out. The PM word crossed out. The WB word crossed out. The TH word crossed out. And at the bottom you have the R word, and it says hashtag change the name. So it's like this. I'm not sure on your end if you're seeing the words in the right way, because from my end, looking at the screen, it looks like the words are backwards. But anyway, I will put that in the description box soon, and you can look at it for yourself. But Gregg, his name is Gregg Deal. He has a Twitter, Facebook, his own website. I'll put all that in there for you guys. Yeah, he's definitely a strong opponent of that crazy word. And let's see. So anyway, I'm just going to read a little bit from this one YouTube video. He was speaking at TEDx. And it says, the indigenous existence in Western and American culture is narrowly viewed and accepted with little to no input from actual indigenous people. And then let me stop there. You have Dan Snyder, who has his tokens, who says nothing wrong with using the R word. Oh, and by the way, they're federally recognized. So they speak for all indigenous American people. So as long as they say it's okay, we good. Anyway, back to this. Gregg Deal talks about the use of history as a tool while he navigates the restrictions thrust upon his work as a contemporary artist, while challenging those who hear his words to take responsibility for their knowledge and create room for this nation's first peoples. Gregg Deal is a husband, father, artist, and a member of the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe. As a provocative contemporary artist activist, much of Deal's work deals with indigenous identity and pop culture, touching on issues of race relations, historical consideration, and stereotype, which critically examines issues with Indian country. With this work, including paintings, mural work, performance art, filmmaking, and spoken word, Deal critically examines issues within Indian country, such as decolonization, the native mascot issue, and appropriation. This talk was given at a TEDx event using the TED conference format, but independently organized by a local community. Learn more at blah, blah, blah. So I will put that also in the description box later for you guys to check out the video. I feel like this video, let me see how long it is. Hold on for a second. Okay, so it's only like 13 minutes and 21 seconds, so it's not long. So later I will post that for you guys. Like I said, he also has a Twitter account, and he posted something a while ago, and it was somebody named Platinum Mike Perry. And this Platinum Mike Perry person said, I support the legendary Native American warriors, and I am tirelessly hunting this at Cowboy Saron for his crimes of defamation, explanation point. I will catch him across the state lines in Denver, Colorado, November the 10th for all the people of the world to see the battle. ... And then Gregg Deal comes back. He says, seriously, this is some straight up racist-ish. Let them know, friends. Hashtag culture, not costume. So anyway, it goes back and forth. Let me see. He has a large following, Gregg Deal on Twitter as well. I'm not much of a Twitter person. I'm more of a Facebook and YouTube person. I don't do Instagram and all that. But he's on he is on Twitter. And then Platinum Mike says, it's Halloween, not offensive. How does a video hurt your feelings? It doesn't. If I punch you in the face, that would hurt you. Greg comes back and says, my feelings are hurt. I find it odd when white folks think that racism is about feelings and not about systematic white supremacy. Also weird, white dudes telling people of color what is and is not offensive. It's cool, punchy, just keep doing you. Hashtag scumbag, hashtag racist, hashtag appropriation, hashtag culture, not costume. And then somebody named James says, the PC police are here. It's Halloween and it's a joke. Don't be so damn fragile. That's somebody else comment. Greg comes back and says, not sure how this is a PC issue. Racism is racism. It's not about feelings. And then James says, you're just sensitive. It's Halloween. My God, this world is so messed up. Have a good day. By the way, I was in no way trying to offend you if I did. I just think that people get offended too easily these days. Then Greg comes back and says, that word keeps up coming up, offended. I never used that word. Americans have no frame of reference to Native people and why things like this R word is a problem. The fact that this stuff is out there so prominently speaks to how much of a problem there is. You're good though. No offense here. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Oh, and then this dude, Eric somebody, says, shut the F up, you stupid snowflake. It's because of people like you that we live in a world where everything has to be censored. Hashtag you're weak. I mean, this is the type of stuff. And this is why we have a Trumpster in the White House. This type of stuff right here. It's just, like I said in the title of this video, the saga continues. The saga continues. There's a lot of people out there that just want to be entertained. They want to be entertained. And as soon as you tell them about themselves, then they get offended. They get offended because you're telling them about themselves. They feel like I shouldn't have to listen to this. I'm trying to have a good time. I'm trying to support my ball team or my football team. I don't want to see somebody kneeling or bending the knee at a football team. I just want to play. I just want to see them play football. Leave politics out of it. But yet you have the military and then Pledge of Allegiance and all that going on at a ball game before you play. That's not entertainment. Is it? No, it's not entertainment. That's not entertainment. That's not that is supposed to be a form of respect for your U.S. military. People are twisted. You have some twisted people in this world. Twisted. So now, I don't speak for everyone who is Indigenous American or who is Black or African American or what have you. Melanated, highly melanated. I don't speak for everybody. But I don't necessarily want to be on a team where there's an illusion of them winning. The team I want to be on is the winning team across the board. Period. And if it's not popular right now to be on that team, it's okay. You have standards. You standing up for what's right. That's the team I want to be on. Not the team that looks like they're winning. Because not only do I represent myself as an individual, I represent my community. I represent my ancestry. Come on now, y'all. Y'all people out there that don't see that that is a term or an action that's not honorable. Let's think 5 generations back, your ancestors. Or maybe the ancestors that scalps were scalped. 5, 6-year-old little boys and girls scalped. What do you think how do you think they would react to their descendants that proudly walk around in garment like that in the name of entertainment? You're disrespecting not only yourself, but your ancestors. The ancestors that walk with you day in and day out. Yes, it's entertainment. Yes, people love, to watch ball games and such. There's nothing wrong with looking at a good game. But there's an underlying problem. And again, we don't want to spend so much time playing the victim. Woe is me. Okay? That's not going to help either. But there's a time where you have to draw that line. And again, if you want to say the R word amongst yourselves within your community on a reservation or something like that, have at it. Have at it. That's the way y'all communicate amongst yourselves. Have at it. Like I said before, you have people within the African American community or Black people worldwide that do interact with each other with the N word. But it's a slippery slope for an outsider to come in and refer to them with the N word. Oh, there's other words too. There's other words too. The S word that's apparently attached to Indigenous women. Have you heard that before? Do you feel pride in that? Would you feel pride if the team used the S word as their brand? with an Indigenous American woman dressed in a sexy costume, or have the cheerleaders dressed in a sexy costume and call them the SQ, blah, 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 blah? Is that bringing honor to your people, to your community? Again, yes, there's entertainment. We can't always be ready to protest and rally up. That's not balance. Yes, we should be able to put our feet up. Yes, we shouldn't have to be so on guard with every single thing. And maybe, just maybe, the R word is at the bottom of the list of things to be concerned about. Yes, you have people in poor living conditions, living in third world conditions right here in this country. That's a problem. Drug addiction, that's a problem. Substance abuse, that's a problem. Removing Indigenous American children from their tribal community is a problem, especially if the state is getting paid for every Indigenous American child they remove from their tribal community. Oh, it happens. It happens. That's a problem. But you got to draw the line. You have to draw the line. Now, here's a flip side. If you playing along the game of tiptoeing, tap dancing, shucking and jiving, or whatever, as some people say, to get ahead, and that's probably what's happening. You're playing the game. You're biting your tongue. You're acting like it doesn't matter until you are in a position to change the game. You're in a position to bring on board people and characters and personalities that bring respect and honor to your community. And not just your community, but just humanity in general. Yes, you sacrificed friendships and relationships because you were on the wrong team. Now, if that's what you did, and you flipped the script, now you're in charge, and now you have enough resources and stuff to maybe buy back 50,000 acres of land. Maybe create jobs for your Indigenous American community members or those allies. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. But until then, I call it being selfish. I call it someone who doesn't have enough self-respect, where they feel like they have to be a part of the country club of colonizers to feel like somebody. You are somebody, regardless. Like I was thinking of Kion. What is the dude's name that's a Trumpster? He's a rapper. Oh, I can't think of his name. That goes to show I've lost all respect for him. I done forgot his name. Hold on. I should know this. Kanye. Yeah, Kanye West. I was about to call him Cayenne, but it's Kanye West. And when he said he was in the White House and he felt, and in so many words, he felt amazing when he would put on that red hat that said, "Make America Great Again." And I think a lot of people that support this clown in the White House, for whatever reason, they feel like they are at the table. And you're getting crumbs from the table. And you feel like somebody because you're getting crumbs from the table. But you know what? At the end of the day, Trump is a character that apparently was destined to be in that plantation house. And what has happened is all of the hatred and dysfunction that was rotting, all it did was surface. It was there the whole time. He just was a cheerleader in so many ways, an instigator that just brought it out. It was there the entire time. I think some people had suppressed it so much because they didn't want to be seen as a bigot, because that was inferior to feel that way. Like they told themselves, "Oh, I have a black friend." That don't mean nothing. Your black friend is probably acting and behaving just like you so they can feel important and feel like they somebody. Just because that person has dark skin, that does not mean that that person is part of the Black, people of color, Indigenous American, or whatever community. Culturally, that person is colonized. That's why that's your black friend. That's your friend because that friend has been colonized. That don't mean nothing. This top I'm wearing right here says it all. Pride. Celebrate who you are. Pride. I got this from the Nottoway Indian Tribe of Virginia. Their powwow a few years back. Celebrate who you are. And wearing that vulgar, derogatory brand is not honoring and celebrating who you are. It's not. It's not. But if you're tap dancing, so one day you're in a position to change the game, and I just don't see it yet, I'm just seeing it for face value, then I apologize to all of you guys and gals out there that are doing this. I apologize to you in advance. Because 20, 30, 40 years from now, you're the same person wearing such garments, are now in a position to do right by your people. I apologize because I didn't understand that that's what you were doing. I didn't understand. Now, some people believe that Omarosa, who used to work for the clown in office, not once, but twice, by the way, and got fired twice. Apparently, some people believe that she was like that, like, oh, she played the game, but now she got dirt on him to bring him down. Well, guess what? Guess what? It didn't work. And if anybody's going to get credit, it ain't going to be her when it all falls down. So now she depressed or what have you, from what I heard, that the Black community have turned their back on her. Hang out with the other Aunt Jemimas and Uncle Toms and keep tap dancing. That's what you do. But anyway, that's where I am right now. I personally just want to be on the winning side, regardless of when the war is over, because right now we're dealing with battles, right? We're dealing with battles at the moment. But when it's all said and done, and when that final war is done, I want to be on the winning side. And at the end of the day, we're part of the same race. We're part of the same race. Now, we may be culturally different. You know, we believe differently. We eat different food and cuisine and what have you. We have different traditions, you know, whatever. But at the same time, we're part of the same race. It's called the human race. Now, you do have some people that, and if you go into this other spectrum, you have reptilians and all of that. And I don't know much about those species. But for the most part, I'm talking about humans. If you're a human, you're part of the human race, okay? Yeah, so I just wanted to reiterate what I said in the last video about the R word. And then again, I did have a couple of comments by a person who was for the R word. So he, she, or whatever explained to me their position. I respect that people have different perspectives on issues and things of that nature, but my mind has not changed. It just hasn't. And I live in a political atmosphere, and yeah, that's just not my cup of tea. It's just not. I'm not sure if some of these individuals have been told so much by colonizers that we're honoring you. We're giving you a shout out. That's why we do X, Y, Z. We find it something to be proud of. You know, you're a warrior. You come from warriors. To me, that still doesn't cut it. These people, colonizers and descendants of colonizers, they want to be entertained. They don't want to be reminded of the ugly history that they benefit from. They're beneficiaries. That's who they are. Now, for our allies out there, they get it. They come from an atmosphere of people who think that way. And they're like, wait a minute, something's not right here. We shouldn't be doing this. I give you a standing ovation. You've taken the first step to correct the wrongs of your colonized, oppressed ancestors. And some of you may also be descendants of those who were oppressed, and you may just not know it. Maybe that DNA memory, right, within you, even though you may live as a white person. Maybe you have that DNA deep in you that's reminding you of your ancestors that were oppressed by your colonizer ancestors. And you're speaking out. And I thank you. I thank you. Now, people of color all day, every day can say there's injustices going on, but until a descendant of an oppressing community, the oppressors, until a descendant who benefits, by the way, of looking like their ancestors who were, and some in this case are, still oppressors of a people. Until you speak up and you talk to your family and your community that you look like, this is going to be a revolving door. The saga continues. And it goes on and on and on and on. People of color are tired of trying to explain the injustices, the discriminative actions, the systematic racism that their communities have to deal with day in and day out. We are passing the torch. You can have it. I'm also associated with people who are white, as far as the way they look and the way they live their lives. They get it. And whenever we have meetings and such, they try to go back to their community, their white privileged community, and try to educate those who are able to receive it from someone who looks like them. What they see on the news, they'll see a particular people on the news and be like, oh, well, that's what they get. They shouldn't have been walking down the street with a hoodie at 10 p.m. eating Skittles in my neighborhood. They don't have the rights because they make me uncomfortable. That kind of mess. Oh, he got shot by a cop and his girlfriend was recording it on the cell phone? Oh, well, he shouldn't have been driving in that neighborhood. He had no right to drive through that neighborhood. So he shouldn't have drove through the neighborhood, and it is what it is. He was black. Yeah, it was on camera, whatever, but we don't know what he did. What did he do to provoke that officer to shoot him? He must have did something wrong. His girlfriend conveniently didn't record that. Oh, there was a little girl in the back seat that saw it all. Poor little girl. That is so sad. Honey, can you change the channel to Friends? Oh, can you grab me some ice cream? They can conveniently change the channel. Out of sight, out of mind. But if they have someone who looks like them, who spend a lot of time with them and their family, they're part of their community, and if those people speak out, then maybe they will listen, especially if they're young enough. If they're young enough not to be consumed by unfortunately being conditioned and molded to think in a certain way. And a lot of it is subconscious, right? A lot of this is unspoken rules. Why do we always go to this store and we don't go to that store? The average child wouldn't think twice about it, but when you get a little older, you're wondering, like, why do we always go over here and we don't go over there? Why don't I never see different people like hang out at our house or, go to social functions with us? Most kids gonna start picking up on that around middle school age. Like, why is it that, so-and-so on your job, we don't ever see so-and-so, or what up? So people like yourselves that look like the oppressors, aka Europeans, Portuguese, English, Spanish, to name a few, right? Germany, to name a few. As far as this country, actually, as far as this Western hemisphere, there are oppressors all over the world that don't carry that European badge. So those other oppressors don't get a pass. There's plenty of oppressors that look like me. They don't get a pass. What I'm talking about is Western hemisphere oppressors, okay? My ancestry is here. Several hundred years and thousands of years right here. That's what I'm talking about right now. And who have been the oppressors on the Western hemisphere? Ding, 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 ding. Europeans. So if you look like a European and you got a clue, I thank you. I thank you. Now, time to step up and educate your community. Especially if you got that drop of blood that ain't European, that's a person of color, and you just happen to look white. That might be what it is. It might be that DNA memory kicking in. DNA memory does exist, guys. If something just ain't quite right with this situation, something just not right to be treating people like X, Y, and Z. I'm going to stand up. And then what did they call you? Oh, you are in lover. Oh, you are R-word lover. Oh, you're a traitor. And all this person is doing is standing up for human rights. And not just human rights. They're standing up for the environment. I see a lot of white-looking folks that stand up for the environment. And I give them props for that. Animal rights. All of that. So you do have people out there that care. And yes, they benefit from being part of the oppressor's community. But it's time to flip the script. And I see you guys. And it's beautiful. Whenever I'm at a rally, obviously I live in the DC area. So, I'll show up when I can. And it's just a sea of beauty. A sea of beauty. And I thank our brothers and sisters who are Europeans or descend from Europeans. I thank you. It is no longer POC, also known as people of color's responsibility, especially after the Obama administration. Like at this point, and you got Trumpsters out there, it is not, I repeat, it is not, in 2019, it is not people of color's responsibility to educate a non-person of color when it comes to racial relations, human rights. So no, I'm not doing it. Now, again, I'm associated with folks who are within the white community that gets it, and they're eager to be an advocate and all of that. I thank them for that, and I have nothing but respect. And I really do believe they outnumber us, believe it or not. I think some of them, wherever they live, they may feel a bit intimidated because of the environment they live in, and they might be the only one. But if they go to, let's say, a metropolitan area or what have you, they have more support so they can speak out. But all that Midwest and all of that section right there where the ocean don't touch. That's where you have some hardcore, backwards thinking individuals. And I think most of the time it's because there's not much interaction with other groups of people, other communities. It's not a whole lot of interaction. And then between that and avoiding any kind of change and whatever news outlet they're constantly being force-fed, that's going to give you a combination of bigotry. And you have plenty of people, let me adjust my little hat now. You have plenty of people who go away to a university or whatever, very smart, intelligent, go back home to wherever they come from, and they're just as backwards thinking. So I really don't think it has anything to do with education or not knowing or whatever like that. It's in your heart. It's in your heart. And hearts need to be changed. And we can go on and on and on about faith and what have you. But you do have extremists out there that will manipulate a person's faith to gain power. We have to ask for discernment. We have to learn how to go to the source. We have to learn how to receive what's for us and discard what's not for us. I think many people are living based on fear. They're afraid. And at the end of the day, no one wants to go through the fire of purification. They don't want to go through the fire. And so whatever a particular spiritual leader is telling this person or this community within this isolated area, they believe it. What did the clown in the office say when he was, I think he was campaigning, I believe. He said, well, he's still campaigning, right? I don't think he ever stopped campaigning. He said if he were to go out and shoot somebody in the middle of the street and kill him, people will still vote for him. Sad, right? It's sad. It really is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's sad. But until people tap into their spiritual power, their inner power, their inner empowerment, you're going to have people and characters like that will manipulate people and hide behind a spiritual guidebook. Well, according to this guidebook right here, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, bow down and do what I say, then you're going to hell. Keep believing that, y'all. You go right ahead. You keep believing that. That is a miserable way to live. That is a miserable way to exist. And you wonder why people are so like riled up in these mass shootings now. And a laundry list of other things is going on worldwide. Not just here, worldwide. It's fear. You have dictators. And they rule with the iron rod of fear. So, with all of that, from what I was talking about throughout this video, I think the bottom line is to know thyself and to honor not only yourself, but your community, your ancestors, and just all creation. What's so difficult about respecting and honoring all creation? You are my brother. You are my sister. We're interconnected. Like this internet, this is worldwide, unless it's a censored community or country or whatever, they censor everything. But for the most part, this is worldwide. www.weareallrelated.com. I love diversity. I've said this before. I love to learn about other people's traditions and such. Where I draw the line is when there are people who suffer in the name of someone's tradition, in the name of someone's superiority, or the mindset of their superiority. That's where I draw the line. We can all learn from each other. There's people within different communities worldwide that have a gift for the world. They know something that will benefit everybody. Not one particular group of people have all the answers. And this is the big lie. This is the big lie. We can all learn from each other. And you know what? When the colonizers came over to this continent, all big and bad, we would have been in such a better position as a country if they only showed respect. Indigenous people here exchanged respect for them, for disease, genocide, religious slavery, regular slavery, violence, theft. And at the end of the day, it's all under one umbrella: disrespect. When you disrespect a group of people, you steal from them. When you disrespect a particular person or a group of people, you make them learn your language. You don't want to learn their language. You make them learn your language because you feel more than. If you disrespect a group of people, you kill off all the males within that community and you rape the women. And then the offspring, you decide that they're slaves. Not that they're heir to your throne, but they're slaves. And it all boils down to respect. But again, you have people that get it, and they also benefit from being within the community of oppressors. But for those who are brave enough to step out of that comfort zone and speak truth, thank you. Because it's no longer people of color's responsibility to waste any more time educating non-people of color. That ship has sailed. Done. Done. And for anyone out there that think I am anti-white folks, that's a lie. I'm anti-bigotry. That's what I am. I'm anti-racism. I'm anti let's rape the earth and make more money. Who cares what's going to happen? Yeah, I'm against that. Now, most of the people in charge of such ideologies and businesses and platforms happen to be European. Let's not forget that. Is there much diversity going on in the boardroom when decisions are made that affects all of us? Now, you do have a few tokens, but are they benefiting all of us or just themselves? But the majority that are making these big time decisions in this country are white. Now, that's truth in the pudding. I ain't making this up. I am not making this up. Y'all know, if you have a half a brain, you know this is true. The well-documented books and articles and journals about slaveholders, the majority were who? Huh? What? Who were the majority? Now, they didn't do all the oppressing, and I've said this before. So those who did oppressing actions that are people of color, they don't get a pass. You got people right now living in this country that are descendants of people of color who own slaves. Now, there is a flip side. There is a flip side when you have people of color that own slaves because maybe they could pass for white or whatever, or their skin was light enough. There has been situations where they would buy slaves and then set them free. Those type of people, I give respect because they played the game. And when they were in a position to flip the script, that's what they did. They would go to auctions, buy slaves, and sell them free. But for those who didn't do that, yeah, you don't get a pass. You don't get a pass. Not at all. Not at all. I'm thinking of Wakanda right now, Black Panther. I love the movie, but at the same time, the first cousin who was sort of the villain in the movie, he was upset because T'Challa, the Wakandans or whatever, they didn't give back. There was this utopia in the middle of the continent of Africa that was so advanced, but they didn't give back because they were more concerned about their own people, their own country, right? That outside with devastation and famine and everything like that, they turned their eye, they turned their head because they felt like it didn't concern them. And what happened is a situation where one of their members of their community had a child by a regular African-American woman. And when everything went down, that child was left behind. And when he grew up, he raised hell. And obviously the moral of the story at the end of that particular movie, and maybe a sequel, I don't know. Give back. Don't hold on to stuff or things or resources without planting a seed somewhere else. You don't have to go bankrupt. You don't have to go bankrupt to help people. And I think this is a misconception for many groups of people out there that are against socialism and everything like that, because they're pro-capitalism, right? There's nothing wrong with having a business. I'm not anti-business. I'm not anti-entrepreneurship. I'm not. The problem is when you don't give back. That's the problem. And so anyway, the moral of that movie that I was just talking about, Wakanda, is plant a seed. That's how you give back. Plant a seed. But back to what I was saying, as far as oppressors all over the world, whatever, you have people who only care about themselves. And they see their group of people, right, that look like them or whatever, are struggling. And many of the people that I'm thinking about have always been in power, don't care. And that's just you. But those people who've been tap dancing for the oppressor, the colonized people, and they finally get to a position to make things happen for the benefit of their people and other people, you get nothing but respect from me after I see what you're doing, after you help people. If you want to impress me, go help somebody. Then I'm impressed. I don't care how much money you have in this business or this venture. I don't care. You impress me when you help people. Then you get my attention. So even though celebrities, they like the fame half the time, right? They love the fame. They want to be seen or whatever like that. If it's in you to give only to get noticed, then go ahead and do that. I don't like the fact that people do that just so they can be seen. But you know what? You go ahead and do that. You do that, celebrity. Because maybe by you doing that, you have a lot of these, how should I say this without being disrespectful? Every so often, I do look at a reality TV show to kind of like, goof off a little bit. I am at an age in my life that I know how to turn that on and off. Today, I'm just going to look at stupid reality shows. But I'm not engulfed in it day in and day out. I don't care what those people are doing, keeping up with whoever. I don't care. But you have some people that are so consumed by that, by what this celebrity is doing, what that celebrity is doing. So maybe, just maybe, if this celebrity who wants attention goes somewhere and do something great for humanity, maybe their followers will do the same thing. Maybe it's a photo shoot for them or a selfie at a rally in DC. I see it all the time. But it gets whatever the issue is at the top of the list. Now more and more people are noticing and understanding, or at least they're seeing their favorite celebrity do it. So, okay, my favorite celebrity is wearing those shoes, so I want to go get those shoes. Oh, my favorite celebrity is standing up in the environment. I'm going to go do that. Okay. Well, while you're following someone just because, at least you did something good, right? Yeah, guys. That's where I am currently with issues like that. FYI, I've always wanted to be a civil rights attorney or human rights attorney. That didn't happen, but that's still in me, you know, wanting justice for everybody. Of course, you have issues going on with the border. I have opinions about that. Maybe in another video, I'll talk more about that. I've said this before, though. I've said that when our brothers and sisters south of the border wake up and know who they are, and not what they were told to believe who they are, and we come together as one, who's the minority now? Who has the power and at the table now? It ain't got nothing to do with taking good jobs away from folks here in this country. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's called fear by non-people of color. That's all that is. Once again, Texas was part of Mexico, and I believe California too. Just saying. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Whatever I mentioned in this video, as far as adding to the description box, I will do that later. Not at the moment, but later I'll go ahead and do that. And thanks for watching. Again, if you want this cool black straw hat, right? It's Calvin Klein. It is on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description box. I got this from New Orleans, by the way. But you can get it online if you want to. I think online it's $48 or something like that. I don't think I paid that much because I went to an outlet down in New Orleans. But if you like this hat, all right, you can get it off of Amazon. And as far as this shirt, I got this at a powwow. I don't think this is online or anything like that. It is a shirt from the Nottoway Indian Tribe of Virginia. And again, I like it. It says pride, celebrate who you are, with the feather. So I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe it's on their website, maybe not, but I did get it at a powwow. And that's right, guys. Celebrate who you are. Celebrate it. And back to the whole R word thing. That's not celebrating who you are. It's not. That's celebrating the genocide, the murder of Indigenous American people for the benefit of colonizers and their offspring. Think about it. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be blessed. Be a blessing to others. And until next time, and there will definitely be a next time. Toodles, guys.